It's 2:55 on Monday. I need a friend. I'm looking on YouTube for a friend. I'm isolated. I'm quarantined. I'm already isolated. I'm in Appalachia, but now I'm super isolated. And I need a friend. I need somebody that I can watch on YouTube that I go, oh, I get you, you get me. So I've always really liked Mayim, and I'm like one of her biggest fans. I have been since I saw her in Beaches. And I've always liked her quirkiness and her ingenuity. But I've never watched a video. And so I'm hoping that I've found something or somebody that I can kind of bond with through this and be like, oh, there's my friend. It's my online friend. You're going to get me through this. Yeah, maybe I'm somebody's online friend. I hope so. I don't know. But anyway, you know something? Let's just watch this. And I've got my fingers crossed that this is going to be something that I can dig into and that I'm going to want to share with my friends. And I'm going to be like, go watch this. You're going to laugh. So here we go. I just got my fingers crossed.
I'm divorced, and like many of you who are divorced, you know that it can be hard to be divorced.
Got an
Whether it's
marriage.
managing kids and co-parenting or functioning in a world where social media seems to be communicating to me that I'm the only one who's divorced, it can be hard. My video on divorce is actually my most viewed video on this YouTube channel.
Well,
so
60% of people are divorced.
Like
it makes
maybe
sense.
I'm not alone. Or maybe I am alone and all of you just want a window into the world of a divorced person. Either way, I've got to say about.
If 60-something% of America is divorced, why would we need her window into the world of a divorced person? It's called math. I know you're like a neuroscientist, but it's called math. You know, I don't know. She said a couple things that have made me really think she's like, I don't know. Maybe the focus is not where I think it needs to be on this topic, but let's just keep going.
Before we get into it, I'd like to remind you to like this channel, subscribe, and click the little bell icon, and then you
Not
can get
until I know if I'm
notifications
gonna
about
like
all
you.
of my videos.
No.
Okay, what more do I have to say about divorce? Well, this came to me at a recent birthday party for a good friend of mine. I was the only divorced woman at this birthday
Doubt
party,
it.
and I guess some of the women there had seen my divorce video, so they knew that I was divorced. These were lovely women, but one of them said something, and it made me think,
She just did a bless your heart, God love you. They were lovely women. That, you know, that means they're not lovely women, or you didn't think they were lovely women. Because if you have to point out that you think they're lovely women, then you're probably like, they were not lovely, but I've got to overcompensate here and say they were lovely. But, you know, if you go somewhere and you like, you put a name tag on, you share the most prominent information about yourself so that others can grasp it easily. We also do that when we don't wear name tags. We do that with our body language and our psyche and our internal dialogue and our ego. And so when you go somewhere and you are insecure about certain things, you often project them. So if you're walking around thinking about your divorce and thinking about how you're in a huge ratio of married women and you're the only divorcee and you know that they've spoken about your videos and you're already on the defensive, it's probably not going to be a positive interaction. It's going to be like a missed high five, and everybody's going to be a little on edge around you because you're internalizing a lot yourself that you're generating that you think is coming from external sources, but it's actually coming from an internal source.
you should never say that to a divorced woman.
Honey, I think you should
Before
say
I
whatever
tell
you
you
want to
what
say.
she said to me that I don't think she should have said,
Let her fly.
I want to thank Wix for sponsoring this video. It's very exciting. Together
Must be
with
nice to be
Wix, I am
sponsored.
designing a new website. In case you don't know what
I'll
Wix
never be
is,
sponsored.
it's
I
an
don't
amazing
speak
free
the
platform that
language.
helps you make beautiful, custom, professional.
I actually
websites
tried
that
this
do
web
whatever
stuff,
you
and
want them to do.
it's
Videos,
okay.
music,
Eh.
photo galleries,
Do I-
booking
did I
appointments,
continue it?
selling
No.
merchandise, anything. You can set it up on Wix. It's really easy. You just drag and drop. They have so
Okay.
many templates you can
Get-
use. You
get
get
your money
unlimited
over
pages
with,
and
honey.
top-grade hosting for
Keep
free.
it going.
I can't wait to show you my website when it's ready.
On to the next.
I'll actually be revealing my new
On to
site
the
on an
next.
upcoming video, so stay tuned.
Go.
In the meantime, to start
Thank you.
creating your free
No.
website, go to wix.com/go/plan.
Guess we all needed
Okay,
to watch an
back to the
advertisement.
awkward interaction at the birthday party.
Thank you.
I'm gonna mix in what this woman said with a couple other things that I think you shouldn't say to divorced people. Number one, marriage is such a drag. I know it's common to complain about husbands and men when groups of women are together. It's some weird sort of camaraderie. But here's the deal. If I'm divorced and I'm not super thrilled about being single, it kind of bites to hear you complaining about your husband.
Oh, you know, some people might genuinely think marriage is a drag. It's not what they envisioned when they entered into it. It's their opinion, much like your opinion on divorce is your opinion. But to expect for everybody to know what your, look at how I caught her, T-Rex, no, I'm sorry. To expect for everybody to read your opinion in your head without you verbalizing it, or to dance around your projected opinion, it's an unrealistic expectation. And when you place those on other people, you're never going to be satisfied. You're never going to be happy. You're never going to find somebody that meets your expectations because they're unrealistic. And you want to know something? You can line 10 women up, and I bet you 8 of the 10 will say marriage is a freaking drag. Because you know something? We love our husbands. And listen, I had a failed marriage. I'm in a marriage that's now 17 years strong. We love our husbands, but we also despise certain aspects of marriage. And that's okay. Nothing can ever be 100%, and my life does not have to reflect yours, and my needs do not need to be reflected in the people around me. 24 goddamn 7 people. We're just not that important. Why do we think we're this important? We're not this important. Sorry, there's like this big crow flying back and forth out my kitchen windows.
Complaining about like, oh, his feet are so smelly, or like, I don't want to deal with him. Because what I think of right now is how much I wish I
mail her
had
my husband's
someone
house shoes
to share things with at night. How much I'd love to cook for someone and be supportive of them in a marriage. So
go to a
it's hard
class.
to hear people
You can get
complaining,
these things
even if
from
it's
other
about
things than
smelly
marriage.
feet,
She's
because
completely
it's
emptying
something
her
that they
tank and
have
saying, I
that
can't get
don't.
these anywhere
I
else.
really wanted
There are
this
no
lovely
other
woman
gas
to be
stations.
so grateful
There's so
for her
many
partner
other
and her
emotional gas
marriage
stations
and
in the
her
world.
life, but
You don't
I don't know
get
her.
everything
I
from a
don't know her
man.
marriage. I don't know her life. So maybe it's not fair of me to insert my desires into her life. Number 2, you're so amazing. You're gonna find someone so amazing. There are so many amazing people out there. What a lovely sentiment. And I do appreciate your
Overcompensating
support,
again.
don't get me wrong. But being divorced at 40 with 2 kids does not hold as much promise as being single when you're 20.
I'm just gonna say, I don't think her problem is being divorced at 40 with 2 kids. I think she overthinks and she overanalyzes and she places an undue amount of stress on people that interact with her. And she probably does the same things to herself. She probably internalizes a lot of fears and a lot of fear-based needs that she thinks other people have. So she probably stresses herself out to interact with other people just as much as she stresses people out to interact with her. Like, I really like her projection in her sitcom and in the movies. I really like the characters that she plays. But I can just tell in 3 minutes and 13 seconds that if I were to be sitting down with her, I would find her very needy, very wordy, very overreaching in the emotional integrity department. Because you want to know something? We're all just flawed human beings, and we're all dysfunctional to a certain level. And when we try to request perfection or expect the unexpected or expect things that other people don't know we require, we kind of throw out this fishing net with huge holes in it because it's not going to work. It is a theory that is not going to work. To think that other people who interact with you for minute moments of your life are going to know how to respond and do everything perfect for you, or understand how to respond to make you feel better or to comfort you, or it's wrong. It's wrong to expect that. People, bless their hearts, we're just not that intuitive. And by nature, we're social, but we're social to a limit. And when people kind of cross that limit, we go, you're voted off the island. And we do that because at a certain level, you have to detach emotionally and stop feeding into these things. You have to kind of go, I understand what you're getting at, but I also understand that sometimes the more you expect, the less you receive, because your expectation continues to grow. And then you limit the amount of people that want to offer any kind of something for you to receive. And being 40 and single with 2 kids and unmarried, I don't know where, I think she's got this huge trigger point about marriage. Marriage is not, it's not this white ivory tower that everybody wants to have. It is work, it's hard work, it's dedication, it's blood, sweat, and tears. It's a lot of learning how to communicate and overcome, and learning how to deal with the shortcomings in the person that we think we love the most, and that just routinely gets tested over time. And you either learn that you love somebody beyond their flaws and deficits, or you have the inability to love beyond that. And You know, it's just, she seems like such a sweet person, but this is not jiving with me at all. And yeah, I know I'm just a hillbilly, and she's a big brain. Yes, I have my master's degree. Yes, I'm before my health tanked, I did a lot of work. I did a lot of profiling and psychological crap, but a lot of this is just common sense. When you integrate with a large social body, you must flex. I don't think she's flexing.
Or even 30. Maybe I'm just not comfortable with your unabashed enthusiasm. Maybe I just need to work on that. Number
But
3.
you need to vocalize
go have
that
sex
and
with people that
go
you meet
somewhere else.
online. This has been suggested to me on more than 4 occasions, and I get it. I get the appeal. For some people, it may work. It may work to satisfy your...
Okay, I would never recommend that. You don't offer up more emotions when you're having trouble with minimal emotions. So why would you offer up more emotions of physical contact? But I will say that at a certain level, people that are very comfortable discussing topics like that in their bodies, they're just kind of easier to talk to. They're kind of easier to be around because they don't have this, you know, look at the world. Like, put your pinkies up and let's all act perfect in society. When we're not perfect, we're all very imperfect. And, you know, let's not talk about the things that we actually do, you know. And so maybe she's uncomfortable with just real gritty talk. But you don't have to go out and get physical with anybody. Honey, I've met very few people that batteries can't replace. It's the nicest way I can say it. Maybe you need some alone time.
Sexual needs and make you feel desirable again in that way. But for those of us who aren't really into meeting people online or having sex with virtual strangers, this kind of sentiment just makes me feel like I'm out of touch and out of sync with like what's going on, and that just leads back to like the loneliness and the fear that I'm never going to find someone. Don't tell me to go have sex with strangers. Number 4. Have sex with a friend. I know what people say about friends with benefits. I know
I would
both
never say
the
to do
bad
that,
and the
but
good.
I would hope that
But
anybody that you
reducing
would be in
me
bed with
as a
would be a
divorced
friend
woman
first.
to just like a
Doesn't
body
make sense
in
otherwise.
need of sex really undercuts my desire to pursue an emotional connection with someone that might lead to sex, which is really more, I think, where we should be heading. And I know that friends with benefits
Those
is
little
more likely
boxes
to be
is just to
successful
cram
when you're
everybody into
adults
them, and she's
rather
crammed
than,
herself
like,
into one place where she's
but
stuck. Somebody get her
ultimately,
out
it's
of
not
box.
sending myself the message I want to give myself, so I just can't get on board. Number 5. Oh, I'm so envious of you. You have so much time to yourself.
That could
Yeah.
be a positive. I don't think you know how to turn things into positive. I've got a lot of time to myself right now, and I'm doing positive things.
A lot of the time.
I mean, I could be on here making a video about my ex-husband. It
True,
would be a
that when-
doozy too, because that was a heck of a marriage. But I would rather be on here and be like, hey, let's find a buddy, let's find a friend, let's find a pal, let's all talk about something positive. This is actually this is a good learning process for women. I think some women, if they isolate or they grow up in a specific society or they grow up in an elite group or they grow up in a very homogenous group or one that has some special privileges, and I'm not knocking mine. I would love to have had some privileges growing up too. It would have been great. I worked chicken houses when I was a kid. Planted tobacco. Anyway, let's climb out of my Great Depression. But some people that are raised in these different mentalities and these different environments don't really understand other groups of society, and if you try to understand those groups of society later in life, you have kind of missed the boat because you did not gradually acclimate and understand, and it didn't kind of help you form and shape your responses. So you kind of never really get comfortable there. It's like teaching 5th graders and walking into a pre-K room. It's kind of disconcerting. And so maybe she's just segregated herself, or life has given her circumstances that has segregated her to where she's just not able to kind of brush off these ideas and ideals and just go out into the real world and have real behaviors with real people on real issues. I don't. It just think she's very sour, and she wants to be very sour, and that is not how at all that I envisioned her in being. And maybe I should start with a different video because I thought that we would have something in common because I'm divorced and I had a very bad divorce, but I'm also happily remarried, but I was also happily single. I had high hopes for you, Mom. I thought we were going to be like Cece and Whitney, and it ain't happening. No, really. No, I really just wanted to have another, I don't know, comfort in this time. I wanted to have another person I could go to for comfort, and this is kind of actually making me nervous. I feel nervous for her because I see what she's trying to do, and I just want to push her and go, you're almost there, but then she runs and puts herself in the corner, and I'm like, I don't know if this would be a conducive friendship. I don't know.
Divorce,
I'm an extrovert.
You have sometimes time on the weekends or even the weeknights when you can do things on your own and you don't need to worry about childcare.
I think
But
single
here's the
people
thing.
are busy.
Chances
I think they have
are
other
you may
things to
not
worry
know me
about.
really well. I miss my kids every second I'm not with them. Don't
Okay,
think
that would imply that
I
other
don't
parents don't miss their
tucking them
children,
in,
so that's an
making them
implication that you don't
breakfast
need to
that they refuse
cast.
to
That's
eat,
being very
cuddling them when they
selfish.
still let me. For me,
That's
that's
being
foremost
selfish. Other people
in
have
my
those same
mind.
emotions,
Of
but they
course
still
I love
socialize
doing
and
things
have
when they're not with me. It took years for me
relationships.
to not feel guilty doing things for myself. Being divorced
There's the
doesn't make
problem.
that go away. So now that I've taken away
There's
from
the
you all
problem.
the
It took
things
you
that
years to
people
figure out how
like
to
to say
focus
to
on you, and
divorced
now you're
people,
stuck.
what are some things that
What
we
you got to
actually
do,
do like to hear?
what you got to do. We done figured it out. This is her problem. She spent years feeling guilty about doing anything for herself. Now everything is about her because her world has shrunk. Herein lies the problem. When we don't often have the ability to focus on us, or everything passes by and then the world halts and we are able to focus on us, we kind of turn into little narcissistic idiots. And everything becomes about us, and we get very overly critical of other people and very self-absorbed. And if you don't come out of that, eventually it can be very detrimental, because it will challenge every relationship with any person you have. This could even challenge her relationship with her children as they grow and become little adults that want to seek out relationships and explore things that she has been uncomfortable saying she wants to explore and can't, or has an idea about it that is unhealthy, so she projects that unhealthy idea upon her children. This could come to a head when her kids start to really get out there and socialize and want to have relationships and build a life of their own. This is something she needs to work on. But we do tend to over-focus on ourselves when we come out of a phase where we were unable to. And if it has been a very drastic life occurrence, then you can become fixated. And you can start to try to super control things, because that is how you get rid of that anxiety, and you don't have a guilt about focusing on you anymore. You've turned it into a positive in your brain. Everybody should be focused about you. You don't feel guilty in doing for you, and therefore everything becomes amplified for you, and then it bleeds out. Not only should you be concerned about you, but your immediate family, your distant kin, your friends, your community, and then you become the little lady at the end of the road that nobody can walk on her grass. I'm just saying. I don't even have a desire to finish this video, and that saddens me because I really enjoy her, and I really celebrate her as an educated woman, as a role model for women, to go out there and go into these men-driven businesses and in schools and really shake things up and say, hey, we women are smart too. I think that's great. I worked, in the corrections field for a long time before I did counseling, and I loved that I was representing women that could do this very tough job. So I really wanted to like her. I really wanted to like her. And, maybe this was just not the video to start on. Maybe I'll try another, but I think it's going to take me a couple of days to get away from this, because this kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, because I see a lot of things that she's still struggling with herself, and to put yourself out there with a platform and as a role model, you need to have a broader spectrum. But maybe I'll try another video in a day or two, and maybe it'll be better. I don't know. But right now, I'm not a fan. I'm going to place the link down below so that you can watch her video if you would like to finish this. I'm not going to. I think it's just going to make me a little bit more anxious and worried and concerned. And I'm going to ask her to pick a day where she can't say no for 3 hours and have 2 friends hijack her for those 3 hours and put her through her paces and make her try things that she would otherwise say no to. Do anything, any practices to get out of your bubble, even if it's eating at a restaurant you normally wouldn't eat at, or taking your kids to somewhere that you normally wouldn't take them, or taking a suggestion, allowing your friends to put suggestions of family nights in a jar and checking it up and picking one out once a week and doing that with your kids instead of what you wanted to do. Sometimes we just need to get out of here in our train of thought and let the world kind of hit us in a different way, because we're not absorbing it the way it needs to be absorbed for a healthy interaction with other people. You know, and when you go out into the world, Mom, and this is just from a bumpkin in Tennessee, but you know, hold the head up. You're an educated woman. You have beautiful children. You have a successful life. You have a lot of people that look to you for guidance. You've got a lot of things going for you. I would not bat an eye at being a divorced woman. I don't care of the religious or societal implications upon it. It takes 2 to enter into a covenant, and it only takes 1 to break it. So that by proxy is just not fair. So don't put all of that on you. You know, you've got this big boulder that says, you know, marital discord, blame, right? It's smack in your wheelbarrow that you're toting through life. Honey, check that, because that old ex-husband he ought to be packing at least half of that. Don't pack anybody else's shit. Just saying. But wake up and do things that make you feel positive, and don't focus on other people's perceptions so much. And if you're starting to have those perceptions, sit down and write the ones that you think about more than 3 times a day. They're toxic. Learn to erase those from your vocabulary, from your daily life. Actively motivate yourself to view yourself differently and change. You know, listen to your friends too. Friends, while they can be irritating, often have good suggestions, and they do normally tell us about things we're doing that we don't want to recognize we're doing. So if you've got a friend that is trying to be super positive, it's because they see you super depressed. If you've got a friend that's trying to be super critical, it's because they think you're not being critical enough of something. Yeah, look at these things. If you've got a friend that's always trying to push you toward an experience because they think that you're not trying to experience life, pay attention to these things. It's not somebody trying to judge you or drastically change your world. It's somebody that's trying to help open a door that they think you've shut and locked and barred and hammered and nailed. And thank that friend and ask them, hey, you know, we're friends. You can openly tell me, what do you think I'm struggling with? What do you think I need to work on? How do I offend you sometimes when I project myself? How can I work on that? Friends have these talks. Friends are not perfect. Friends are beautifully imperfect and flawed, and that's why they're our friends, because we know they're just as crazy as us. That's all there is to it. Women, stop being so goddamn picky about yourselves. Stop thinking that these things define you. And then stop projecting it to other women that you think it defines you, but it's from them. Stop defining me. Stop this angry vitriol that we're just spewing. Just wake up. Notice that the grass is green and the birds are chirping and life's going on. And every day that happens, onward we go. Get out of the mud hole. Move forward. Mama Liz, out.